All right. Today I'm going to make an olivier salad with shrimp. This is a salad that comes from Russia. It's very similar to a potato salad, but it's like more delicious and more colorful. So the items you are going to need are yellow potatoes, carrots, eggs. These items we're going to boil, not together. The potatoes and the carrots are going to go in the same pot, and they're going to boil together until they're soft enough to go through either a ricer or be cut up really easly into small bite-sized chunks. The eggs will boil together separately. We're going to do 4 eggs. And I think, depending on the size of your potatoes, if you have big, nice, good sized potatoes, 4 potatoes. I think my potatoes are a little bit on the smaller side, so I'm going to do 5 potatoes. These are like a little bit bigger than a golf ball. So I'm going to do 5 of those, maybe 6, depending on how it looks. Other things that go in an olivier salad, peas. These can be... What's wrong? Do you want some peas? Peas, these can go in fresh, or they can be thawed from being frozen. Mine are leftover from dinner last night. So we'll have those in our olivier salad. Also, we'll be doing some cut up pickles, diced green onion, some bell peppers, some shrimp, and some mayonnaise and yogurt. Traditionally, olivier salad is with ham. Like any leftover ham. You could also do like leftover chicken, and then it's kind of like a chicken salad. And there's not usually peppers or onions in it, so I'm kind of adjusting this to my own taste for my family for dinner tonight. Let's get started. Okay, first thing, we've got a big pot, huge big pot with water. We've got a small pot with water. So, to do the potatoes and carrots, I've got my potatoes I cut into quarters. And I did 5 potatoes. I'm going to stick them in the pot, the big pot, and I'm going to turn the heat on high because I want to get those boiling. Then I've got about a cup of peeled and cut, I dropped one, peeled and cut carrots. So I've got peeled and cut carrots. I've got about a cup of those. Stick those in the pot with the potatoes and turn that on high. Now the next thing we're going to do is the eggs. That's what the smaller pot of water is for. What's wrong? Okay, the smaller pot of water, we're going to do 4 hard-boiled eggs. The water is cold. The eggs just came out of the fridge. Put 4 eggs in there. Your eggs should sink to the bottom, and they should be totally covered in water. If your eggs float, they're not good. Don't eat them. And if your eggs are not covered in water, they're not going to cook totally. So you put the eggs in totally covered in water, turn it on high, and you're going to wait for that to boil also. See? Here's the potatoes and carrots. There's the eggs. When they're boiling, the potatoes and carrots you'll just want to turn down a little bit so that they don't like boil over. The eggs, you'll turn the burner off, but you'll leave the pot there, and you'll cover the eggs, leave them on the burner, covered in the hot water for about 20-ish minutes. And then when it's been about 20 minutes, you take your eggs out, rinse them under cool water. You could even dunk them in some ice water. We don't have ice. We don't have ice trays. We don't have an ice maker, so I won't be doing that. One of my burners has something on it, so it's like smoking right now. It's just on the burner though. Anyway, it's freaking out my baby. Okay. While we're waiting for that stuff to boil, and now that the smoke is done, whatever it was doing on the burner, we can do the rest. I've got about a cup of peas. I'm going to put them in this giant bowl. Cup of peas. Like I said, they could be thawed from being frozen. They could be fresh. These ones were frozen yesterday. I cooked them for dinner. They're leftover. I've got a bunch of green onions. I'm going to cut about that much. That's about 1.5 inches. I leave them in the rubber band. It makes it way easier to cut. And then you're going to slice them pretty thin. So little small pieces of green onion. And we'll throw that in the bowl with the peas. Ooh, those are some potent green onions. They're very smelly. That's good. They'll have a lot of flavor. I've also got pickles. These are bread and butter pickles. I love bread and butter pickles. They're my favorite. You could use dill pickles, sweet pickles, any kind of vinegary, vegetable-y pickle you want. Doing about 1/2 cup of pickles. I'm just gonna chop them. So each pickle I'm gonna cut in half, and then I'm gonna turn them lengthwise, and I'm gonna cut them up. If you don't want to cut up pickles, I don't love like pre-made relish, but you could just use some pre-made relish, sweet or dill pre-made relish, and that would work just as well. So my pickle pieces are about the size of my peas. My little pickle pieces. I'm going to throw those in with the peas and the onions. So right now in our big giant bowl, what we have is a cup of peas, 1.5 inches chopped off of a bunch of green onions, 1/2 cup of pickles in my big green bowl, blue bowl of green things. An Olivier salad is supposed to be really, really colorful. So that's why we got the carrots in there. We got the peas. The ham brings a nice pink color. That's what the shrimp is going to do. Our water is almost boiling on these eggs. Okay. So my eggs and potatoes are getting really close to boiling. You can see the bubbles coming up on the eggs. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a lid and put over the top of them. And then I'm going to turn my burner off, but leave the pot there. The potatoes and carrots, I'm going to let get to a more rapid boil. And then I'm just going to turn it down a little bit. And we'll come back when those guys are done. Okay, so my potatoes I would call about half done. So we're going to prep the peppers and the shrimp. And then while the potatoes are cooling, we'll cook the peppers and the shrimp. So I buy these little bags of these small sweet bell peppers. And this top part here, about 1/2 inch down from the top, is the seed pod. And then on the bottom you've got this little like belly button. So I'm going to cut both those things off. It seems a little bit like a waste, but so I'm cutting about that much off the top. All that is seed, and I'm just saving myself the trouble of having to dig that out and deal with cutting the stem off, cutting on round edges. Now I'm going to cut the belly button off, and what you're left with is this tube cylinder of little bell pepper. I cut that in half so that I have 2 halves, and then I lay one half over the other, skin side down on your cutting board, so you're cutting through into the belly of the pepper. And I'm just going to do thin slices starting at one end and going to the other, and you end up with these really, because of the size of the peppers and the shape of them, you end up with these cool like W-shaped pieces. And I'm going to do that with a yellow pepper, a red pepper, and an orange pepper of these little sweet ones. Yes, son. He just wanted an apple. There you go, bud. Okay, so like I said, this is a very, very colorful salad. So we've got our whole rainbow in here. You could even, if you really wanted to have the whole rainbow, you could use like blue or purple potatoes instead of the yellow ones. Traditionally, they're just yellow, but so I've got all of my peppers, red, orange, yellow, on my cutting board. They're going to get cooked with my shrimp. So the shrimp that I use is the easy peel. It's still got the shell on, and that can seem a little intimidating, but the easy peel is deveined. So you don't have to worry about that poop. And shoot, I need... I'm using... What? I'm using the extra large size. These were previously frozen. So, it's deveined on the top. No poop on the top. It's still got the shell on it. You can save these shells. You can make a broth with them. They're super tasty. Nothing wrong with keeping them and using them. I usually don't. So, super easy to separate the shell from the shrimp. I'll show you. You get one. It's got its legs down here. You're just going to thumb and finger on either side and pinch at the legs, and that's going to slide right off. And then pinch at the very tip of the tail, and that's going to slide right off. It takes some getting used to. You can also open the shell up like a book on either side and just peel it down like you're taking the shrimp's coat off. And again, just pinch and pull right at that end of that tail. So these are, like I said, these are extra large, easy peel, shell on, tail on, frozen raw shrimp. You could use salad shrimp. A salad shrimp is the small little shrimps. They're going to be already cooked, already peeled, already deveined. You don't have to worry about it if it freaks you out. And then those, you'd take them right out of the package. Half a pound to a pound of those, throw them right in the salad. You don't have to cook them. They'll be pink, which means they're already cooked. So uncooked shrimp is gray. I'm filling this small bowl. It's going to end up being about a cup to a cup and a half of shrimp, I think. And, yeah. Easy peasy. Once the potatoes are done, I'll drain them in the sink and let them sit and cool. Now, look, this is something you want to watch for. This one was not deveined. I'm just using the shell to just scrape out all that gunk. So it's just a black line on the back of the shrimp. Just pull it right out. Now it's fine. No worries. Yeah, when the potatoes and carrots are done, when I can pierce them easily with a fork, I'll put them in a colander in the sink to drain. We want all the water off of them, but then we also want them to cool down. So when you're making a pasta salad, you can rinse your pasta with water, and that's great because it's going to wash off a lot of the sticky starch. The pasta's not going to stick together with the water, and it will cool your pasta off super fast. I would not recommend rinsing your potatoes. What's wrong, buddy? What's wrong? Do you need more? Do you want more berries? Yeah. Okay, I'll get you more berries. Okay. So my carrots and potatoes I can very easily pierce with a fork. That's exactly how we want them. Now, so I'm going to turn the burner off. The reason I don't like to rinse potatoes to cool them off is sometimes your potatoes are soft. You might end up losing the skin or losing some of that good flesh that you want in your recipe. That's going to go right down the drain. Now, usually what that means is you probably overcooked your potatoes. But I'm going to put my potatoes in a ricer, so I think it's going to be okay. Now I've done a tablespoon. That was actually a little bit less. I'm going to do just a bit more. Tablespoon of olive oil in my pan. Put that pan on medium heat to heat up. And then I'm going to throw my shrimp and my peppers, about a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of black pepper, into the pan and cook those until the peppers are soft and the shrimp is nice and pink. And while that's cooking, I'm going to tend to my eggs and my potatoes. Now, we haven't really done anything with our eggs yet. We threw them in some water. That's it. We let it sit. They sat for about 20 minutes. If you're not there yet, please pause the video. Wait for your potatoes to get done. Wait for your eggs to have been about 20 minutes. The potatoes and eggs should finish about the same time. So I'm taking my lid off of my eggs. And I'm going to go drain them in the sink. And then I'm going to put cold water over the top of them. Okay, I put cold water now into my pot. My pot's nice and cold to the touch. My eggs are cold. I'm going to pour it out again and do one more of cold water. If you have ice, instead of doing that, have a bowl, water and ice. Dunk your eggs in the ice water. Now I want my eggs to cool off, so I'm going to stick my eggs in the fridge. The pan is cold now, so I don't have to worry about the pan being too hot. My shrimp and peppers are going to cook. My potatoes and carrots. Now, I'm going to put mine through a ricer. I think it's way easier than trying to cut them up on a chopping board. If you don't have a ricer, that's not a problem. You'll just want to cut about 1-inch squares out of your potatoes and carrots and stick them in your salad. It's okay if they're soft. If they're like a little bit over soft, you're going to work them. You're going to mix them up. Oh, I forgot to add salt and pepper to my shrimp. So I'm going to do that now. And then a little black pepper. The only thing left in our potato salad is going to be mayonnaise. That's it. That's all you dress it with. Now, I like to do it a little different. So I'm going to do a ratio, half a cup of mayonnaise, half a cup of yogurt, a half a teaspoon of mustard, a half a teaspoon of coriander. And that's going to be my dressing. You could squeeze a little lemon on there too. That would be super good. You can really experiment with what flavors you like. Maybe just stick to around a cup of mayonnaise. About a cup. You can add mustard. Very traditional to potato salad. Not as traditional to Olivier salad, but similar. And all those flavors are going to come together. You can add even just a little bit of red wine vinegar instead, in lieu. The yogurt, or if you don't have yogurt, sour cream, that's going to add that little bit of tart flavor. And then especially if you squeeze a lemon on top, add some more salt, add some more pepper, to taste it as you go. Make sure when you're adding your spices that you're not adding too much. Add a little bit, taste it, add a little bit more, because you can always add more. It's hard to take those flavors out. If it is over salty, you can add a little bit of sugar, and that's going to cut through that salt, and probably not be that noticeable. My shrimps are starting to turn pink in my pot. So it's just oil, peppers, and shrimp. Cooking them until the shrimps turn nice and pink. And we're going to turn the burner off. And we want everything to cool down before we add it all together. So that's going to be a little bit of waiting time. So this is not a meal that you start cooking when you're hungry. This is a meal you start cooking when you know you're going to be hungry in an hour. Yeah. But we're getting to that final step where we're going to start throwing everything together. So, hang tight. All right, everything is doing good, cooled off. I pulled all my carrots out. I'm going to just cut those up into little pieces, a little bit bigger than the peas and pickles. Just these nice little rounds, and stick those in my big bowl with everything else I have right now. And then I'll grab my ricer and I'll do my potatoes. Hey buddy, what's wrong? What's the matter? What's the matter? Can you see? Can you see yourself? Hi, baby. This is a ricer. You stick a couple potatoes in the top. They're still a little bit warm. That's okay. And then this guy comes down, and when you squeeze, the potatoes come out here, and they'll make like little soft noodly potato noodles. I'll show you in a second. Let me sort of rearrange my... Okay, here's my big bowl. Got my potatoes in there. And you squeeze it. The girl hates it. But it actually makes these tiny little, like, potato noodle nugget things. And it's so much easier than chopping. It's so much easier. And then it gets nice and soft. And then it's just going to make this big, creamy, delicious bowl. I will finish ricing my potatoes and tend to my crying baby. We're almost done. Okay, these are the last of my potatoes I'm ricing here. If you don't have a ricer, if you're just dicing, like I said, you want to do about 1/2 inch to 1 inch little cubes. My potato salad's nice and warm right now, and just scraping it off the bottom of the ricer so we get it as much in as possible. Okay, grabbed the wrong thing. This is not what I want. Okay, so mayonnaise and yogurt. I've got about 1/2 cup of mayonnaise. I'm gonna get on here, scraping it out. It's the very last of my mayonnaise. Here we go. And then a big old spoonful of yogurt. About 1/2 cup of that as well. And that's partially because I'm out of mayonnaise. Also because, like I said, that sour cream is going to add a nice tang. A tang you could get by also using vinegar or lemon. Okay. God, I love sour cream. All right. Uh-oh. All right. He's fine. Not an actual emergency. Toddlers are like that. Last thing we're going to add are shrimp and our peppers. Stick those in the bowl here. Go like this and scoop them out. They're still a little warm too. That's okay. And then some more salt. Some more pepper. Noticing a little piece of shell among my shrimp. Sometimes that'll happen. We're not professionals. I'm gonna grab my mustard and my coriander. Just doing a couple little sprinkles of that, about 1/2 teaspoon each. There we go. I'm gonna mix it up. Okay, so we've stirred it all up. We've mixed it all up. This is where the benefit of a big bowl is going to really come in. Because if your bowl's too small, your ingredients are going to slop all around. Now, if I was taking this to a party or somebody's house, I would scoop it into a nice clean bowl so that you wouldn't see all the stuff around the edges here. All the dressing around the edges. But, man, this is going to be good just the way it is. Potatoes are so delicious, so versatile. This is such a great recipe. Get a nice spoonful with some shrimp, potatoes, pickles, peas. It's got everything in it. A little bit of carrot. Yep. That's exactly what we wanted. When you're tasting it, when you're playing around with flavors, I think you can really tell how versatile this salad is, how easy it would be to manipulate the flavors, change out the meat, eliminate the meat altogether, add some more veggies. This is really like such a great base recipe for a really delicious alternative to American potato salad, which is usually just potatoes and mayonnaise, which we also fucking love. So no big deal. Anyway, hope you enjoy that. Look up a more legit recipe if this was confusing or weird. Happy eating. And as I like to say, goodbye. forever. Goodbye forever.